because it's not anything that I have practiced. Imagine a professional brain surgery that walked into the operating room one day, fresh out of high school, and said, I'm a brain surgeon, I'll pick up this knife and start carving away. Doesn't work that way. There has to be a practice. There has to be some time and energy and effort that has to be put into it. And the higher the level of the skill, the more demanding of the talent, the more practice that it takes. And so however much time you spend in this idea of religious science, the amount of practice that you are going to put into it is going to be the measure of the outcome that you receive. So I found that there's a very easy way for you to discover how well your practice is going. If you are getting results from the prayer work that you are doing, from the practice that you are working, if your life is transforming and up-leveling and moving into something great, then you know you've been doing the practice. If you can't seem to get out of that rut that you found yourself in the first place, no matter what you do or say, then perhaps you need to re-examine the way in which you are practicing. And here's another way in which the licensed practitioners can help guide you. For they can listen to how you're doing your practice and maybe point out some places in which you might want to re-examine, you might want to shift it a little bit in order to get the results that you want. For we believe in the spiritual mind healing, that if we put our mind to it, and I'm talking about something that is more than the physical body. I'm talking about something that is more than this muscle that sits up here in the skull. I'm talking about something that is greater than the heart that beats the life within my body. I'm talking about that essence of mind which cannot be measured, which cannot be extracted from your physical body and say, oh, here's the mind. This is what it looks like. Here's how it operates. When we speak of mind here in the science of mind, we're talking about something that is greater. Greater than I am, greater than you are, greater than all of us put together collectively, and all human beings throughout all time immortal. That there is a definite, divine, perfect intelligence that is the first cause of all that is. And not only is it the first cause of all that is, it is the essence of everything that is. You cannot separate it out. You cannot take this and say, oh, well, this is first cause, this is divine intelligence, this is what I call God, and this is something else. There is no other. There is no something else. In fact, when we begin to talk about that which we call God, and we declare that that is good, right in that very statement, we have created another. Because by saying that God is good, then we say, well, there must be something that is bad. Very simply, Ernest Holmes would say, God just is. Not just is, but God is. Everything. And all that we know and experience through our sensations that we have in this physical body, which, by the way, has its limits. The physical body is a representation of what the mind is projecting out into the world. The physical body, at some point, will have completed its role, its task, its responsibility, and it will move on. But the essence of who you are, your mind, your intelligence, your presence, your perfection, is forever. You get to have this opportunity here in this world, in this experience, to to bring that forth into the greatest manifestation that you so desire. And there is no limit to that. Only that which you put upon it. You can have the most magnificent life right here, right now. The Master Teacher Jesus says this. Heaven on earth is right here available to us in this moment. All of the great masters, all of the great teachers have been promoting this, have been advocating this, have been trying to get us to wake up to the awareness that there is only one life, and that this life is perfect, and that this life is God's life, and that this life is my life right here and right now. And why would I not want to live the most extraordinary experience that I can bring forth? Well, maybe because I get a little lazy. Maybe because I get a little caught up in what's going on in the world. Maybe I began to start listening to others and I think that that's the reality. Have you noticed that there's a whole... I'm not going to say it. That was not a good word. There is a whole projection of ideas and thoughts that are going out and around our country right now that is not necessarily the truth. It has to do with the fact that elections are coming up. And so everybody wants to gather your vote. They want you to come to their side. They want you to, think the way in which they think. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's the way it is. But in that process, we get caught up in trying to convince or influence other people. So perhaps we exaggerate a little bit or stretch it a little bit further than what it really is. And I would ask you, when you hear these things, to say to yourself, is that true? This is a method that Debbie Ford teaches in her work. When you hear something, when you see something, when you experience something, ask your higher self, that divine intelligence that is already within you, is this true? Is this my truth? Is this what I want to believe? When I hear those things and I'm not quite sure because I don't have all of the information, so sometimes I have to take somebody at their word, trusting that they are going to bring forth that greater ideal that I'm thinking about. And it may not be so. I have to ask myself, is this true? Is this what I believe? And so I go back to what Ernest Holmes gave us. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty. Living Spirit. It is alive. It is right here, right now, in each and every one of you. And it's neither good nor bad unless I put some judgment on it. Unless I give it some energy. If I don't, then it just is. It's just an experience. It's just an expression. It's just somebody trying to do the best that they can do with what they have to work with. For the longest time, I looked at my parents and I thought, how could they be so dumb? How could they just not understand? Until I started raising my own child. And then I went, oh, why didn't I pay attention? Why didn't I listen at that time? And now that I have grandchildren, I just laugh. It's a joy. that idea that we all go through this cycle.